What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank, and it is cold as shit out here. Okay? Ridiculous. Alright, it's freaking, somebody need to turn on the heat, bro. Like, if you black, stop saying you're from here, alright? Because you know damn well your skin does not agree with you. Your goddamn body does not agree with you. You are from a you were meant to be hot, alright? Not goddamn cold, goddamn naked. Our body's meant and optimized for nakedness. All right, we are supposed, us and the sun have a direct relationship. We're not supposed to be wearing all these layers upon layers of animal hide in order to protect our bodies. Okay, we're not from here. But anyway, I've been sitting back chilling because I can do that. Right, I haven't been making as many videos lately because I've been observing. Sometimes when you want to have well thought out videos, you gotta take time to observe what's going on so you can re-download fresh information, so you can have a better perspective on what's really going on, right? Instead of just emotionally reacting to every single situation that happens, right? So we still got this Pan-African, we still have these people who are making arguments about delineation and Pan-Africanism and all that stuff. And it seems to be a bigger conversation happening, right? I don't think it's not necessarily a war. It's a misunderstanding, right? You see, Pan-Africans are doing Pan-African things, right? People who are Pan-African are black people who have decided, right? They're trying. I try to make this as simple as possible because there's even a lot of Pan-Africans on the internet, right, who call themselves Pan-Africans, and they battle the FBAs, right? They battle, right? And not all Pan-Africans have high intellect. Not all Pan-Africans are mature. Not all Pan-Africans, people who call themselves Pan-Africans, not all of them on the up and up. And not all of them are, know what the hell they're even talking about. Even though the sentiment is they want to unify, right? So the overall sentiment is, yes, we want to unify with everybody. We're black, we're African, right? Which is the proper sentiment, to unify, to come together, to become as one, right? Or every vibration in your body, every part of your African spirit, your black spirit wants you to come together. All black people, all we do is want to come together. To be honest, we all are arguing because we're all not coming together, right? So you got the Pan-Africans, who are me, who we complain about the new group of delineators, right? FBA, who think that FBA is how they want to identify themselves, and they want to label all African Americans with that title, right? Then there is where the problem lies for Pan-Africans, because we understand that the name FBA was created by a person that does not have the pedigree to or the qualification to rename an entire race of people for their own financial benefit, right? Tariq Nasheed, right? We didn't discuss as a community that FBA sounds good to us or nothing like that. Some dude named Tariq Nasheed said it because it sounded good because he stole it off somebody else. And now you have a group of people running around identifying themselves as FBA. Once again, a bunch of African people trying to find themselves, once again, attach themselves to a title which they think brings pride to them. But in fact, it doesn't bring pride to them. It brings shame and it marks them, because the title itself, FBA, is marked by a charlatan, Tariq Nasheed. Its inventor, its founder, does not have any basis in any revolutionary thought, any revolution, anything other than a few documentaries he slapped together called Hidden Colors before YouTube got popular, and he rode off his coattails of his C-list celebrityism, and he was able to galvanize a little bit of fame for himself, right? But all in all, he's making a lot of causing a lot of problems, because he's a 50-something-year-old man who comes on the internet and acts like he doesn't know how to have an adult conversation with another adult. So he uses the fact that he sits there and has conversation with other unintelligent people who would like to challenge him, right? And because he's slightly smarter than them, he curates it to where he's always has the upper hand. Whether he cuts them off the show, he hits them with a bunch of misdirected conversations. He reframes every conversation to fit his narrative. It's his pimping Mackin 101. All right, he's literally been doing the same shit the whole time. First, he used to scout kids in school to see which one of the little girls was going to be a professional prostitute when she got older. He would teach you how to pimp girls and manipulate them into having sex or having sex with others to produce money for him, right? He either he was doing it for real or he was pretending to be. Either way, he was trying to teach people how to do that. Then he tried to teach people how to be a Mac, how to manipulate women. But he's a manipulator. He knows how to manipulate people who are weak-minded or who are ignorant and lacking in knowledge. FBA. So when I talk shit about FBA, I'm talking specifically about his subscribers, because that's who FBA is. FBA is Tariq Nasheed's subscribers. That is it. And I'm quite frankly getting sick of all of the coattail algorithm rising YouTube Negroes that start to use FBA as if it's a legitimate title to call us, because it's not. I'm an African American, and my ancestors never forgot that they were African. And that's a narrative that a lot of ignorant people who don't know anything about their own personal family history use. There are many African people, African Americans, right, who were brought over here during the transatlantic slave trade, who know exactly what country they come from. African people didn't forget. We didn't forget we came from Africa. That's the thing. We didn't forget we came from Africa. We didn't forget we were African. What we forgot was how to speak our language fluently. What we forgot is the origins of all the African American traditions that we keep calling African American tradition. That's what we forgot. We forgot the name and the origins, because our parents kept passing along all of our culture. Remember, we had to hide our culture from that white person. So in centuries of hiding a culture, you sometimes can forget the origins, especially when you have 3 generations in a goddamn cabin, right? And then all of a sudden one's dead or one gets sold. You got to understand, we were fighting for our identity while white people were systematically trying to separate us to destroy the black family. The black male, the black man and the black woman had been separated for 500 years actively by the white person, right? And despite that, we have held on to our African culture. We just don't remember our language because we were all speaking English. When Africans came over here, when we were taken over here, right? Brought over here during the transatlantic slave trade by white people, by the way, which is funny because FBA, they say they want reparations, right? But what they don't realize is the very same excuse they're using why they hate Africans and they don't want Africans to participate in reparations. And anyhow, even though I've never met an African that said they wanted African-American reparations. So that is a straw man argument made up by people like Tariq Nasheed so he can have something to argue about. Because I've never seen these ton of videos of all these Africans saying, I can't wait till African-Americans get that reparation so I can get my cut. You've never heard it. It's a made up argument. So that's why I said people like Tariq Nasheed are, and people who pander to Tariq Nasheed for their audience because they're afraid to offend their audience. Because if they offend their audience, they won't get super chats and support on their own personal channels. When you choose money over your people, that their lie becomes the problem, right? And it corrupts the cohesion that we're supposed to have, right? But you got to remember that when slavery was over, right? And we was like, we want reparations. After the government paid the slave owners, we were like, where is ours, right? And you know what excuse they used to not give African Americans reparations? The one excuse they used, that's not true, by the way, but this is the excuse they used to not give what you call foundational black Americans, because you want to be American so bad because American always meant white, but you still want to be white, right? It seems like that's what direction you're going, whether you want or not. The excuse they used was, well, you sold yourselves into slavery, so we shouldn't have to give you anything. Keep in mind, the same government that said that the white people who enslaved African Americans should get reparations because their business was disrupted because they weren't allowed to enslave Africans. The same group of people said, we can't give you reparations. You sold yourself into slavery. That was their excuse. And every time we go for reparations, white people make that excuse that we sold ourselves into slavery. Even though we never sold ourselves into slavery the way they try to market. We were forced and coerced. Forced and coerced by gunpoint. There was no slavery in Africa before white people. That's another thing white people like to say. That white people were just participating in something that already existed. So why should we have to take responsibility? But in fact, there was no slavery in Africa. What we had and what they did are two different things. What we have is a sustainable communal living system and conflict resolution system in order to have people who would have went to war with each other, killed each other's finite resources and assets, which are males who are meant to work and build a community, meant to swap males and to also swap women in order to keep the gene pool going, keep genetic diversity going, and keep society moving in a common sense manner. That's what we were doing. Because we had advanced societies, advanced civilizations, advanced architecture, advanced civilization before white people came with their savage barbarian gun and cannon and fucked it all up, stole it and said it was theirs, and built their white Wakandas based off a lot of our principles that they still abominate, they still bastardize to this day. All right? So every excuse FBA uses as these black people that say they want reparations are the excuse that these white people who are standing next to them, cheering them on, use against black people. So their whole movement is null and void because they use the weapons and the talking points of their white supremacist handlers in order to fight against the very same people that their white supremacist handlers are trying to keep them from, Africans. Right? And so you start this, you got these antagonizers like Tariq, and all of them have a mission. You got your Anton Daniels, you got the Carter family, you got your Dennis Sperlings, right? Your Dennis Sperling, he's a fence rider. Dennis Sperling, he'll sound smart, but then say some ignorant shit. Like he made a video, delineation is good for unity. Okay, I graduated, right? School, right? And I know that delineation and unity are not the same thing. I know they are the opposite. See, Dennis Sperling's supposed to be a lawyer, right? He touts himself as a very important person. He has like a 5-minute intro to his, he's really smelling himself. If you watch his goddamn show, as soon as it come on, you can tell he thinks very highly of himself, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. But this guy is supposed to be a lawyer, but he, for some reason, don't know the difference between unity and delineation. And his excuse is in his video, because I was going to rip his ass. I was about to destroy him, right? But he said some stuff that made some sense. And I was like, okay, so your title's a clickbait, right? You want people to be pissed off so they can click your video. That's the problem. The fact that people like to piss off people to get clickbait, to get their video just for their own monetary advancement, all those little raindrops of negative movements in order to get you to get to the bag, that shit adds up and accumulates. Because we got a whole bunch of people on YouTube with a bunch of titles that suggest that there's this massive problem happening between Africans and Caribbeans, which in fact is not. Is you, in fact, creating the problem by creating the platforms at which you can fucking pull in anybody who do got a problem, like a goddamn fly to a goddamn light to hover around the aura you've created on social media. Right? This good. So he sits there and gives a history lesson on what African Americans had to go through. And I thought it was a pretty damn good. I was like, yeah. I said, well, if you started off like that, instead of utilizing your ignorance, instead of reacting emotionally because you heard somebody hurt your feelings once, or because you clicked on a video and you saw these two low-level thinking individuals, whether they're Pan-African or FBA or pretending, having a conversation and they're throwing low-level shots at each other. And so you take that spirit, you go to your channel and you use your supposed high-level, sophisticated self and you amplify it and turn it into something bigger than it already is. Like you ain't never seen two vagabonds fight in a bar, right? And it was crazy is these people who will call themselves FBA, right? Your enemy seems to only be Africans. Yeah, you throw the Latinos in there, but your enemy is never the person that's supposed to be the enemy, which is the white people. Don't tell me you don't want to talk to white people. Don't be scared. I say white in every one of my videos and I'm monetized. I say white man. I put on the title, white man, white woman, Asian man, Asian. I know how to speak and I'm very direct and I'm still here. You don't got to beat around the bush for white folk. You ain't got to be scared of them. They not better or more superior than you. You can say what the hell you want to say. Just don't threaten people. Don't threaten to kill. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But you can say what you want to say. I even say Jew sometimes. And that shit work. Now, you can't throw too many words behind it and for it, you know. But I say the shit. I got demonetized for saying it too. And I don't give a fuck. Because I say it because I keep it real. Right? That's because I have morals and virtue. Right? And so you got to understand that you got to think more than just emotionally react. Dennis Sperling, Anton, all these people, Anton Daniels just fake. He's just a fake. He's disgusting. Anton Daniels is a weasel. He's a snake. He's a piece of shit. He's a yeast-infected vaginal blood shark. He is a cancer-infected shit turd. That's what, He is the worst kind of all. Anton Daniel, he's the worst out of all of them. He's the worst. He's the worst, right? He's the worst. But with all that being said, I don't just like FBA, right? When I say FBA, there's still people who think that I'm talking about African Americans as a group. There's still people who, because they can't comprehend, and that's the problem we have in our community, the comprehension level of our people. When I say African, that doesn't mean I'm saying that we're all wearing the same uniform and we're all eating the same Cheerios. You know what I'm saying? We all got to eat food for lunch and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We can't be who we are in our community. African Americans are a proud, very successful, powerful, legendary ethnic group. And that's why I'm proud to say African American, because I'm an African, right? Who survived in the name. I'm an African who survived in America. I'm an African who bloodline survived the American. That's legendary. You want fuck the Spartans? What? The Spartans? The Bama's had 300. They really had 1,000 Spartans, and they had like 7,000 Greeks. They made a movie with 300 goddamn Spartans, act like they went up against the whole Persian. No, what happened was the Spartans got their ass whipped. That's the real story. The real story is the Spartans went over there, right, and they got destroyed. That somehow, within them getting destroyed for making a dumb decision by blocking a pincered pass, not even thinking that right above them, there was another path, they didn't get routed. It was a stupid, dumb decision by a stupid, dumb, ignorant king who couldn't change with the times, and he got mollywopped and destroyed by somebody that had better tactics. That's what happened. Fucking 300. When you talking about the African American, well, we've been in that same battle. We've been in that same battle for 400 years. All right? That same battle with the white man. Straight. What are you talking about? On his end, we ain't had nowhere to go. Talking about some goddamn 300. You know how tough an African American is? So I don't like to be disrespected by having people come along trying to take the Africanness from us, because it's that African power that we survive. It's the African is the battery. African is the battery that's in the backs of that American who is brown. That's me. African American. There's nothing more powerful than calling yourself African American. FBA, foundational black what? Foundational black American? We were here before there was an America. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all don't know history. We were here before there was America. There was other countries here before America. America is the conglomerate of those other European countries after they finished killing each other for the rights to enslave and own us so they can sell tobacco and sugar and cotton and dominate the globe to this day. That's where all the billionaires and trillionaires come from. They're the children of these people. So while we give them a pass and buy all their shit from the stores and shit, we concentrating on our other brother or sister who also got marginalized, enslaved, and shit like that, because that's the target, right? That's the time we wasting on. It's bullshit, right? So FBA is an ineffective movement. Delineate to what? You can't name Dennis Spurling being a lawyer. Then you got O'Shea Dudaction, who's I don't know what he is, all right? He says he's a Pan-African. I believe him because I know he's doing Pan-African shit in real life. The motherfucker that's on TV is different from the person that's not on TV. I'm telling y'all. But all he said, he's a Pan-African that has a different view, a different way of thinking about how to get to the solutions to the problem, right? Now, let me talk about the grievances of Pan-Africanism. Because it's not like they don't have, it's not like FBA or these people are just reacting to some shit that they never happened, right? There are a lot of fucking Africans that come over this motherfucker talking shit. There's a lot of Africans who come over here not understanding that they didn't make it because of their greatness and their superior intellect as a Nigerian, as a Ghanaian, as an Ethiopian. They didn't come over here and just get it out the mud. They didn't come over here and get it. They think they did. You know why they think they did? And this is where I go. The African American hears them disrespect us, right? I mean, all the shit that we did, so these motherfuckers come over here and enjoy, right? All the shit we did, went through. They come over here and they enjoy it, and then they look at it, look down on us like, oh, you smug, you lazy African American. I am a Nigerian by way of London, and I am far superior than you, as my pure African bloodline affords me the ability to be superior intellectually to you. the vagabond enslaved African that managed to get caught by my king back 500 years ago, and because of that, you are nothing but less than nothing. And I shall dominate you as the superior African, and I will show this white man that I am, in fact, the superior West African. We got Nigerians and Ghanaians and either like that. And we be like, you think you ain't black, nigga? And you Somalians, of course, y'all are the worst, right? Because y'all so ethno-national. Like, y'all East Africans are the worst, right? Yeah, they the worst. Ethiopians are the worst. Sudanese are the worst. Eritreans are the worst. They're the most racist Africans on the planet. And that's just the truth. I love y'all guys. I grew up with you guys. That's how I know y'all the most racist people on the planet. I mean, as far as blacks. Y'all, it's like, y'all black, but y'all want to be black. Y'all Arab. Y'all just, and if y'all black, y'all better than everybody else. And y'all, and that reflects in East African culture, because y'all got all that Arab mix. Y'all got all them Arab tribal wars going on over there, right? Especially Ethiopia. There's like 1,000 different mofos with 1,000 different stories that go back 1,000 years. Y'all fighting over there still, right? And them Arabs egging that shit on, because while y'all over there Ethiopians fighting each other, y'all Africans over there fighting each other. You mixed mulatto African Arabs fighting the Africans. While y'all all doing that, those pure white European Arabs are taking your shit. Same with you Sudanese, same with you Somalis, same with you Sudan, all y'all East Africans, right? And East Africans beef with North Africans and Central Africans. They think they better than every type of African, right? They got that Arab thing going on, right? They got Arab mix, right? So I understand, African Americans, we're not gonna take no shit from nobody talking no shit. I understand that, right? So I understand the reaction, right? But I also understand the reaction about Africans who come over here, who they like, look, I'm coming over here, I'm just trying to survive, right? And here's a good example. I'm about to get O'Shea with something good, all right? I'm going to use O'Shea as an example. This is a really good example, okay? So, people like O'Shea, Dennis Sperling, right? Phil fucking Scott. Oh, my God. There's just some people that's just on... Can I say on-site? Is on-site a nuance enough word to where I can say that? Because I can mean anything on site. Like, on site, we're going to have a debate. On site, I'm going to tell you what I think of you verbally and non-violently. Let me tell you something. There are 2 people that are on site with me. All right? If I ever see them in person, they on site. I don't care what they doing. I'm walking over to them and I'm going to give them the business. Now, what that business means, all right? All right, I'm saying non-violent things here. Allegedly, but Anton Daniels and Phil Scott, them 2 motherfuckers are on site. All right. But anyway, these guys stop their, intellectual cosplay, because they're cosplaying intellectualism. Trust me, because they're not smart, right? They cosplay their intellectualism. I'm not talking about O'Shea's smart, which pisses me off because he should be smart enough to know better, right? And that's why I'm about to use him in an example. Okay, so when you go to somebody else's country, when you're given a visa, all right, the people who are given the visa, and this is going to answer a lot of questions, right? Because both Africans come over there thinking they hot shit. They think that they're hotter shit than they really are when they over here, and they think they're special, and they think we're not doing anything, right? All this is because the white man is in both our ears telling us shit about each other instead of us listening to each other, because we, after the white man done told us, we take that shit, we fight each other with that information, right? And that's what's happening. That's where that's where FBA and some Pan-Africans are right now. They're fighting with the information given to them by white people, and they're battling it out, right? Instead of calming down and stop emotionally reacting and actually breaking down the situation, say, hold up, disconnect to this. So O'Shea Duke Jackson is in Uganda. He's in Uganda, right? Now, O'Shea Duke Jackson says he's a Pan-African and he wants unity, right? O'Shea Duke Jackson, as an African-American in Uganda, knows that as an African-American, he better not say certain shit in Uganda. Museveni is an ethno-nationalist. Museveni is a terrible person, Now he's against white folks and he does a lot of things. He's against colonialism. He's against the white folks dominating his area, but he is also for his tribe dominating his area as well, and not necessarily spreading the love towards all other Africans. Mussolini is a dictator. Mussolini puts his political opponents in jail. He's the kind of dictator the U.S. likes because they can make money with him because he's a businessman. All right. You don't hear O'Shea Jew Jackson as a Pan-African in Uganda talking about Ugandan problems. You don't hear O'Shea Jew Jackson talking about Mussolini, the president, and what he needs to do to improve Uganda. You don't hear him talking about that. You don't hear O'Shea Jew Jackson necessarily and poignantly talking about the specific institutionalized issues within Uganda itself. All right? You don't hear that, right? You don't hear that. You know why you don't hear that? Because as an African American who's intelligent enough to know and be fully aware of the political ethno situation within the country, he knows if he were to do that, he may lose the opportunities that's afforded to him in that country. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, he knows in Uganda, if he were to join the fight, the Ugandan fight for freedom and liberation of the people, if he were to join the fight in Uganda for true, fair elections, free and fair elections, he will be ostracized and kicked out of the country. That's why O'Shea don't talk about Ugandan politics. And he can say he can say he's not into that, but he talks about American politics. So he's into politics. So you like politics. Politics is global. You're in a country that have lots of politics you could talk about. You're in Uganda. You're African American in Uganda. You should be supporting your Ugandan Pan-Africans and supporting their movement to liberate themselves from the ethno-nationalism within Uganda. But he's not involved in those movements. Right? You understand? So the same thing goes for any African who's in America, who gets a visa based off specific criteria. When they come to America, they can't really necessarily get involved in African American politics, because if they do, they can get their shit revoked. We have example of Arabs and Muslims speaking out against the government and the dehumanization of people from other countries. You in America, you can't even talk about Israel. That's a whole nother country. And you get punished in this country. You can't talk about anything America's doing if you're a foreigner, because you can get your visa revoked and your opportunities taken away from you. That's why most of them keep quiet. And we African Americans want them to get in the fight. But we got to understand they all can't get in the fight until they become once they become citizens, they can get in the fight. Because the consequences for them is getting sent back to a country that's ravaged based off American foreign policy. Because a lot of you African Americans are making fun of African countries for being impoverished, even though it's America and its foreign policy that you benefit from that keeps that country in that condition. So none of y'all is thinking about why things are the way they are. You're just emotionally reacting to the way things are instead of figuring out why and moving past that and getting to the next thing. O'Shea Jew Jackson makes great points when he talks about the destabilization of the government of Africa and how hard it is to do business in Africa. He's right. He's right. No amount of Pan-Africanism, right, outside of the business structural. Well, that's not true. No, well, I don't want to put it. Okay, so right now, Pan-Africanism, right, is the solution to the structural problems and ethno problems that Africa and black people globally have. Period. We are the solution. Why? Because we have to find some sort of ethnic, racial discipline to govern our nations in a more mature, methodical, systematic way in order to be able to make the environment conducive for investment of other global Africans. Africa is very corrupt. The people are corrupt. The goddamn, you can't get shit done. You got to bribe somebody all the time. That is true. You have scammers everywhere because these are government structures set up by the white European power structures, and no real instructions were ever given to the puppets that control it. And now the puppets are getting old, they're dying off, and now the people that were affected by those puppets are being given a governmental system and told you need to operate that shit effectively. And they ain't had enough time to ever do that shit. So shit's fucked up, but it requires Pan-Africanism. African Americans can create systems that create bubble zones within Africa that we can operate effectively and legitimately without being scammed. That's the type of shit we need to do. Those are the conversations we need to have. How do we fight against ethno-nationalism on the continent, right? Utilizing Pan-Africanism. How do we get people who are FBA and continental Africans to have a conversation where the conversation is productive and not just talking shit because people's feelings is hurt? Because we're black. We talk shit to each other. We hurt each other's feelings. We're going to be able to clap back. And when we clap back, it's going to hurt each other. So African Americans and Africans, when we talk shit to each other, we're going to hurt each other's feelings and we're going to feel it. If we talk shit to a Latino, nobody's fucking with us. We talk shit to white people, nobody's fucking with us. We talk shit to Asian, nobody's fucking with us. Our gravity and our light is too hot. All right? We got that juice. But when we do it to each other, that shit hurt. And FBA, you guys are offended that Somalis don't want to be black. So are you guys are offended that they don't want to be like you. So that means you're mad that they don't want to be like you. That means you see them like you. That's why you're offended that they don't want to be like you. So you do see yourself in them as brothers and sisters. You get what you see what I just did there? Black people are offended because black people want to be Pan-African. They want to be pro-black. They're like, yeah, we all black. We're on the same side. We need to fight the same fight, be on the same battlefield. But then when you get people coming over here that look like us, and we're like, yeah, we eat some of the same food. We're like, yeah. And then they like, yeah, we're not getting in the fight. We're like, what? What you mean you're not getting in the fight? But you want the spoils of war after the fight. That's how we see it. So the thing is, society is complex. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. But the thing is, as a Pan-African, let me tell you something. I'm on every black person's side over anybody else. You my tribe. As an African, I can say all Africans in my tribe. That means my gang's bigger. My gang's stronger. I got supply lines. I got everything I need as a black person if I'm an African. But when you delineate into what? In what? You're to say you're FBA, you're saying your ethno-nationalist identity is more important than your racial identity. Where we're moving into a future, right? Where you need to be creating allies. And the only allies we as African Americans got are our African Americans, even if we have a tendency to miscommunicate with each other. That's it, right? We're moving into a world where white supremacy is breaking up. White supremacy is going down. The next organized group are going to be the ones to take over industry. The next group that got the biggest supply lines is going to be able to take over industry. The next group that have the most resources is going to be able to take over industry. Just like Asian people can go to Asia and get supply lines and bring all that artificial hair over here and make money in the black community, we African Americans can go to Africa and bring all manners of material, right, to make money in the African American community. It's shit like that. Anyway, let me wrap this shit up. I've been talking for 32 minutes. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. This is all just a misunderstanding. We got to do better at communicating and talking to each other and elevate the conversation, because the thing is, we're having low-level conversations, and I'm not really about having low-level conversations. I'm ready to take some action and do some shit, because running our mouths for another 20, 30 years about what the white man did and this and that without having solutions to counteract what the white man did, or having circular conversation about, oh, why this person do this, why this person hurt my feelings, without getting to the crux of the problem and fixing it so that we don't have that problem in the future. I'm not about having wasteful conversations. Let's have productive conversation that move our people forward, and then we can have a powwow about that. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.